Do-hyun stared at the holographic display, his three eyes blinking in confusion. The data made no sense. He had studied thousands of developing civilizations across the galaxy, but humans defied every pattern he knew. Ha-won, look at this, he called to his research assistant. These creatures fight wars using atomic weapons, yet they also use those same atoms to heal their sick. They pollute their atmosphere, then create technology to clean it. Every problem they create, they somehow solve, but in the most inefficient way possible. Ha-won floated closer, her silvery skin reflecting the blue glow of Earth's hologram. Perhaps our instruments are malfunctioning, she suggested, running a quick diagnostic. No species advances by moving backward. The research station orbiting Jupiter provided them the perfect observation post to study Earth without detection. The Galactic Council had assigned them to catalog humanity's development level, but after 3 months of observation, they had more questions than answers. Look at their information networks, Do-hyun pointed to a stream of data. They created a global communication system, then filled it with pictures of small animals they keep as companions. They have the technology to edit their own genes, but they use it to make plants glow in the dark for entertainment. Fascinating, Ha-won admitted, recording everything in her datapad. They seem to progress through failure rather than careful planning. It goes against everything we know about technological advancement. Do-hyun expanded the hologram, showing a timeline of human history. See this. They discovered powered flight, and barely 60 years later, they'd walked on their moon. The Council's development models say this should have taken at least 3 centuries of careful advancement. A notification flashed across their screens. Another nuclear detonation, this time underground. But instead of weapons, the humans were testing methods to eliminate their waste materials. We should report this to the Council, Ha-won suggested, her tone worried. These humans, they're unpredictable. That makes them dangerous. Do-hyun felt torn. Standard protocol said to quarantine any species that showed such erratic development patterns. But something about humans fascinated him. They failed constantly, yet each failure seemed to push them forward somehow. Wait, he said, making a decision. Before we report, I want to study them more closely. The Council expects a full analysis, and right now we can't even explain their basic development pattern. He pulled up more data streams, human art, music, scientific papers, and social media posts. Look how they share information. They don't wait for ideas to be perfected. They release them half-finished and let others improve them. It's chaos, but somehow it works. Ha-won's skin shifted to a darker shade, showing her concern. The Council won't like this. They believe progress comes through perfect planning and careful steps forward. These humans, they run forward, fall down, get up, and somehow end up further ahead than if they had walked carefully. Exactly. Do-hyun's excitement made his third eye dilate. What if we're wrong? What if our perfect, logical way isn't the only way to advance? These humans, they're going to change everything we think we know about civilization. The hologram switched to a live feed of a human city at night. Millions of lights sparkled like stars. Cars flowed like rivers of light. And in a small laboratory, a group of humans celebrated their latest failure, one step closer to their next success. Send a message to the Council, Do-hyun decided. Tell them we need more time. Tell them we found something impossible. And Ha-won. Yes. Mark Earth as a priority study. I think we're about to learn more from these humans than we'll ever teach them. Above Earth, hidden from human detection, 2 alien researchers watched a species that would soon make the galaxy question everything it thought it knew about progress, innovation, and the true nature of intelligence. Jae-yeon looked at her reflection in the mirror, still amazed by her human disguise. The synthetic skin felt strange, and having only 2 eyes took time to get used to. But according to her training, she looked like a perfectly normal human graduate student. 3 months into her mission on Earth, she sat in a university cafeteria, watching humans interact. Her datapad, disguised as a phone, recorded everything. A group of students at the next table argued about a physics problem, their voices getting louder with each passing minute. That's not how quantum tunneling works. One of them, Ta Min, waved his hands in frustration. Jia Yun had noticed him before. He always questioned everything his professors taught. The textbook is wrong. I can prove it. His friends groaned. Not everything is wrong just because you don't agree with it, one said. But Ta Min was already drawing diagrams on a napkin. Jia Yun moved closer, pretending to look for a power outlet for her laptop. Her hidden third eye, concealed beneath a layer of synthetic skin, zoomed in on his calculations. What she saw made her freeze. His math was completely wrong by Galactic Council standards. But somehow, his conclusions matched recent discoveries that even the Council's best scientists hadn't published yet. "Mind if I join you?" she asked, forcing herself to smile like humans did. Tai Min looked up, his eyes bright with enthusiasm. "I'm interested in quantum physics too." Over the next hour, Jia Yun listened as Tai Min explained his theories. He broke every rule of quantum mechanics she knew, but his ideas worked. It was like watching someone build a perfect house while ignoring gravity. "You think I'm crazy," Tai Min said, noticing her confused expression. "No," Jia Yun answered carefully. "I think you're seeing patterns others miss." She sent a quick message to Do Hyun through her neural link. "You need to see this. Humans don't just break rules. They break them in ways that shouldn't work, but do." Tai Min gathered his things to leave for class. "Same time tomorrow?" he asked. "I'd love to hear your thoughts on my theory about quantum entanglement." Jia Yun nodded, already dreading Do Hyun's response. Getting close to humans wasn't part of her mission. But as she watched Ta Min walk away, she realized something important. To understand how humans thought, she needed to think like them. That evening, in her small apartment, Jia Yun received Do Hyun's reply. "Keep watching him. But be careful. He's demonstrating knowledge he shouldn't have. Either humans are more advanced than we thought, or..." The message ended there, but Jia Yun understood the warning. She looked out her window at the city lights, thinking about Ta Min's impossible calculations. Humans weren't supposed to understand quantum physics this well for at least another century. Her hidden third eye caught movement on the street below. Tai Min was walking past her building, still scribbling in his notebook. But what made her skin ripple with shock was what he did next. He looked directly up at her window and waved. "Impossible," she whispered. Her apartment was on the 15th floor, and her window looked like all the others. Unless... Her communicator beeped with a message from Ta Min. "Nice quantum theory discussion today. By the way, your third eye shows through the skin when you're surprised. See you tomorrow." Jia Yun sat down hard in her chair. In just one day, this human had not only rewritten quantum physics, but also seen through her disguise. And he didn't seem afraid, just curious. She sent one final message to Do Hyun. "The humans don't just question everything. They see everything too. We may have severely underestimated them." Outside, the city hummed with life, millions of humans going about their lives, while among them walked minds that could reshape the galaxy's understanding of everything. Jia Yun stood before the Galactic Council's holographic projection, her report causing whispers among the gathered aliens. The massive chamber made her feel small, but she spoke with conviction. "Humans don't follow our rules of progress," she explained, showing recordings from her time on Earth. "They make mistakes that lead to discoveries. They're wrong in ways that end up being right." The council members shifted uncomfortably. One of them, a crystalline being, spoke up. "You mean they succeed by failing? That's impossible. Watch this." Jia Yun played a recording of Tai Min solving complex equations. This human rewrote quantum theory while eating something called a sandwich. His math breaks every rule we know, but his results match reality better than our standard models. Do Hyun stepped forward to support her claims. His three eyes focused on the council as he displayed historical data. Humans discovered penicillin by accident. They found radiation because they left materials in a drawer. Their greatest breakthroughs often come from mistakes. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some members demanded Earth be quarantined, calling humans dangerous. Others wanted to study them more closely. "There's more," Jia continued, her voice cutting through the noise. "They know I'm not human. This physicist, Tamin, he saw through my disguise. But instead of reporting me, he's teaching me how they think." She played another recording. Tamin stood at a blackboard, explaining his ideas to a group of students. See how he encourages questions. When someone proves him wrong, he gets excited instead of defensive. They built their entire scientific method on doubting everything, even themselves. Do-hyun added his own evidence. Their internet is full of humans proving each other wrong. But instead of causing problems, it drives them forward. They have a saying: "The best way to get the right answer is to post the wrong answer." The council's leader, a being of pure energy, spoke. "This goes against everything we know about civilization. Species advance through careful planning and perfect execution. What you're describing is chaos." "Exactly," Jae-yun said. "Creative chaos. They built spacecraft while still fighting with swords. They cured diseases while believing in magic. Every rule we have about how species should develop, humans break them all." She showed more data: human art, music, scientific papers. They share half-finished ideas. They build on each other's mistakes. Their wrong answers lead to right ones in ways we can't predict. Do-hyun displayed a final graph. Their rate of advancement is accelerating. In the time we spent debating this, they've probably made 3 impossible discoveries by accident. The council chamber fell silent. Finally, the leader spoke again. "This requires further study. But be careful. If humans can see through our disguises, they may be more aware of us than we thought." As Jae-yun prepared to return to Earth, Do-hyun caught up with her. "The council is scared," he said quietly. "Not of human technology, but of human thinking. They're afraid humans will make them question everything they believe." "They should be," Jae-yun replied, checking her disguise one last time. "Because that's exactly what humans do best." Back on Earth, Tamin was already waiting in the university cafeteria, a new theory scrawled across a pile of napkins. His impossible ideas were about to shake the galaxy's foundations once again. Sung-ho arrived on Earth with one goal: prove humans were wrong. The council's top scientist had spent 3 centuries perfecting his logical thinking. He wouldn't let some primitive species challenge everything he knew. The university laboratory fell silent as he walked in, his human disguise perfect down to the smallest detail. Tae-min looked up from his work, instantly recognizing another alien despite the disguise. "Welcome to Earth," Tae-min said with a smile. "Want to see something impossible?" Sung-ho placed a data crystal on the table. "No. I want you to solve this." The crystal projected an equation into the air, the galaxy's hardest unsolved energy problem. "Your species claims to understand quantum mechanics. Prove it." Jae-yun watched from the corner, worried. This equation had stumped the council's best minds for 1,000 years. But Tae-min just grinned and grabbed a marker. "Mind if I do it wrong?" he asked, already writing on the whiteboard. Sung-ho's perfect disguise couldn't hide his confusion. Tae-min worked fast, his markers squeaking across the board. He crossed out standard formulas, drew silly pictures in the margins, and wrote notes that made no sense. Other students gathered to watch, adding their own ideas. "That's not how energy works," Sung-ho protested, pointing at a drawing. "You can't just ignore the quantum barriers." "Why not?" Tae-min asked, still writing. "Rules exist to be broken. Watch this." He drew a final line through his work and stepped back. Sung-ho checked the math 3 times. It was completely wrong. It broke every law of physics. It ignored basic rules of the universe, and somehow it worked perfectly. "Impossible," Sung-ho whispered. He ran the numbers through his hidden computer. The answer was better than anything the council had ever produced. You broke all the rules. Rules are just things we haven't proven wrong yet, Tang Min said, capping his marker. The universe doesn't care about our rules. It only cares about what works. The laboratory buzzed with excitement. Human students discuss Tang Min's solution, already finding ways to improve it. Each wrong idea led to 3 right ones. Sung Ho sat heavily in a chair. 3 centuries of perfect logical thinking, and a human with a marker just proved me wrong by being wrong. Jai-yun touched his shoulder. That's why we're here to learn from them. They don't just think outside the box. They question why boxes exist at all. Later that night, Sung Ho sent his report to the council. It contained only 1 line. Everything we know might be wrong, and that's exactly right. Tang Min's solution spread through the university. Students improved it, challenged it, broke it apart, and made it better. Each mistake opened new possibilities. In his private lab, Sung Ho stared at his lifetime of work. Perfect, logical, and limited by rules he never thought to question. Then he picked up a marker, drew a silly picture in the margin of his notes, and started breaking rules. Hae-Newell's laboratory on the alien homeworld looked nothing like it had a month ago. Gone were the perfect rows of equipment. Instead, papers covered the walls, and half-finished experiments cluttered every surface. She had gone human. "You've lost your mind," her colleague said, watching her work. "The council will shut you down." Hae-Newell ignored him, too busy testing Tang Min's theory. After Sung Ho's report leaked, she'd secretly started copying human research methods. The results were amazing. "Look at this," she pointed to a failed experiment. "Yesterday's mistake gave me an idea. What if we're wrong about energy conversion? What if chaos is more efficient than order?" Her lab's energy readings jumped higher than any council-approved method had achieved. Alarms went off across the facility. "Quiet those alarms," she ordered. "And get me more testing materials. We're about to break some rules." News spread quickly through the scientific community. Hae-Newell wasn't the only one experimenting with human methods. Underground networks of alien scientists shared wrong ideas that worked better than right ones. In his council chamber, Do-hyun received report after report of unauthorized breakthroughs. "They're all copying human thinking patterns," he told Jai-yun through their secure channel. "The revolution has started." Back in Hae-Newell's lab, a team of young scientists gathered secretly. They'd brought questions instead of answers, problems instead of solutions, just like humans did. "Traditional methods take 10 years to improve technology," Hae-Newell explained. "Yesterday, we made 3 breakthroughs by accident. Human chaos works better than our perfect order." Warning messages flashed across her screens. The council was investigating unauthorized research. But Hae-Newell smiled, remembering what Tang Min had taught Sung Ho. Rules were meant to be questioned. "They'll try to stop us," she told her team. "But you can't stop an idea. Humans taught us that progress doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being willing to be wrong." Her latest experiment exploded spectacularly, filling the lab with purple smoke. But in that failure, Hae-Newell saw a pattern nobody had noticed before. She laughed, understanding finally why humans celebrated their mistakes. "Write this down," she told her team as alarms blared again. "We just discovered something new by doing everything wrong. The council won't like it, but they can't deny it works." Across the galaxy, more alien scientists joined the revolution. They drew in margins, asked stupid questions, and broke rules. Each failure taught them something new. Each mistake led to discovery. The perfect order of alien civilization had cracked. Through those cracks, chaos flowed. Creative, productive, human chaos. And nothing would ever be the same. The emergency alert woke Do-hyun from his rest cycle. Spatial anomalies were appearing across 3 star systems. The perfect models of the council had failed to predict this crisis. "Show me the data," he ordered. The holographic display filled with red warning signs. Holes in space-time were growing, threatening to swallow entire planets. Hae-Won rushed into his office. Traditional containment methods aren't working. The anomalies are breaking every rule we know about space-time. Then we need someone who's good at breaking rules, Tu Hyun said, sending an urgent message to Earth. Ta Min received the call while eating breakfast. Minutes later, he stood in a hastily assembled conference room with Jae-yun and Hae-nul staring at the crisis data. Your perfect logical solutions are making it worse, Ta Min said, studying the patterns. These anomalies aren't following rules, so stop trying to force rules on them. Hae-nul nodded, her experiments with human methods having prepared her for this moment. We need chaos to fight chaos. The council chamber erupted in protest when they proposed their solution. You want to make it worse on purpose. The leaders asked in horror. Exactly, Ta Min grinned. These anomalies feed on order. They grow stronger when you try to contain them with perfect solutions. So let's be imperfect. Their plan was ridiculous by alien standards. They would create controlled chaos, deliberate instability to disrupt the anomaly's growth. It broke every safety protocol the council had. Like fighting fire with fire, Ta Min explained. Sometimes you have to make a problem bigger before you can solve it. Hae-nul's team began implementing the plan, deliberately introducing random elements into their containment fields. The anomalies responded exactly as Ta Min predicted. They became unstable. Now watch this, Ta Min said, inputting a sequence of seemingly random commands. Where perfect alien mathematics had failed, human intuition saw a pattern in the chaos. The largest anomaly collapsed, taking the others with it. Across 3 star systems, the crisis alarms fell silent. Impossible, the council leaders whispered. But they couldn't deny what they'd seen. Human chaos had saved them when perfect order had failed. Do Hyun looked at the results with all 3 eyes wide open. They didn't just solve the crisis, he realized. They showed us a new way to understand space-time itself. That evening, as the council debated the implications, Ta Min sat in the observation deck, watching alien stars. Jae-yun found him there, still scribbling new ideas on napkins. You knew it would work, she said. How? Sometimes you have to trust that you're right about being wrong, he answered, showing her his latest calculations. Want to break some more rules? Do Hyun stood before the council, his decision already made. I'm authorizing a joint human-alien research team, with or without your approval. The council chamber's lights dimmed in disapproval, but he continued. The spatial anomalies proved we need human creativity. Our perfect logic almost got us killed. It's time to learn from them. In a converted warehouse on Earth, the first official human-alien science facility took shape. Ta Min and Jae-yun led the project, while Hae-won documented everything. Put the quantum computers next to the whiteboard, Ta Min directed. We need both logic and chaos in the same space. Alien scientists watched in amazement as their human counterparts drew on walls, built machines that shouldn't work, and solved problems by making mistakes on purpose. Hae-won recorded it all. They're teaching us to unlearn, she wrote in her reports. Every human solution starts with the words, "What if we're wrong?" The warehouse became a place where impossible things happened daily. Humans and aliens worked side by side, each learning from the other's strengths. A young alien scientist accidentally spilled coffee on important calculations. Instead of panic, the humans gathered around, excited. The coffee stains revealed a pattern nobody had noticed before. See, Ta Min explained to the confused alien. Accidents are just the universe's way of showing us something new. Jae-yun watched her 2 worlds merge. Alien precision combined with human creativity produced results neither species could achieve alone. New technologies emerged from failed experiments. Mistakes led to breakthroughs. Record everything, she told Hae-won. The galaxy needs to see this new way of thinking. In one corner, aliens learned to draw silly pictures while solving equations. In another, humans used alien logic to refine their wild ideas. Together, they broke rules and rebuilt them better. Do Hyun visited often, watching his dream of cooperation take shape. "We thought we were perfect," he told Jai-yun. "Humans taught us the power of being perfectly imperfect." The council demanded daily reports, worried about this strange new approach. But they couldn't argue with the results. The joint team solved problems in days that had stumped the council for centuries. "Humans don't just think outside the box," Ha-won wrote in her final report for the day. "They teach us to see that there was never a box in the first place." As night fell, Ta-min and Jai-yun stood on the warehouse roof, watching stars they would soon visit together. Their team of impossible thinkers was changing the galaxy, one mistake at a time. The combined research team faced their biggest challenge yet. The council demanded proof that human methods could improve alien technology. They had one day to show results. "Let's solve something impossible," Ta-min announced to the packed warehouse. "We're going to break the energy barrier that's limited alien ships for 1,000 years." Hamnul brought out the standard alien engine designs. Jai-yun set up screens showing human theoretical physics. Together, they would prove that chaos and order could work as one. "Traditional engines can't pass the light barrier," an alien scientist explained. "The math proves it's impossible." Ta-min smiled. "Then let's start by assuming the math is wrong." He grabbed a marker and began writing on the windows, walls, and even the ceiling. Other humans joined in, adding wild ideas everywhere. The aliens watched in horror as their perfect equations were pulled apart, but slowly they began to see patterns in the chaos. Hainul was the first to join in, drawing connections between human mistakes and alien precision. "What if we don't try to break the barrier?" she suggested. "What if we convince it to let us through?" Hours passed. The warehouse walls filled with a mix of human intuition and alien logic. Failed ideas led to new discoveries. Wrong answers sparked right questions. Then Ta-min saw it. In the mess of numbers and drawings, a pattern emerged that no one had noticed before. "Look here," he pointed. "The barrier isn't solid. It's more like a door." The combined team worked faster. Humans provided impossible ideas. Aliens refined them with perfect calculations. Together, they found a solution no single species could have discovered. "We're not pushing through the barrier," Jai-yun explained to the council. "We're dancing with it. The ship moves like waves in water, following patterns we couldn't see before." The test results were clear. Their engine design worked twice as well as any in council history. Human chaos had transformed alien order into something new. "Impossible," the council whispered. But they couldn't deny the evidence. The warehouse team had proved that being wrong in the right way could change everything. That evening, as the celebration began, Do-hyun found Ta-min adding more equations to a window. "You've changed how we see the universe," he said. Ta-min shook his head. "No, we changed it together. Your logic, our chaos. Turns out the universe needs both." Above them, the first ship with the new engine design prepared for its test flight. It would prove that the greatest discoveries come when you question everything, even the impossible. 1 year after the breakthrough, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. Whiteboards covered the ancient walls. Aliens drew in notebooks during meetings, and today, they would officially welcome humans to the galactic community. Jai-yun and Do-hyun stood before the council, presenting the results of their human approaches to vision. Behind them, a hologram showed the spread of human thinking across the galaxy. "In 1 year, we've made more progress than in the previous century," Do-hyun reported. 47 impossible problems solved. 32 new technologies developed. All because we learned to embrace chaos alongside order. The council leader, no longer afraid of imperfection, drew a small doodle while listening. "Show us the education results." Jai-yun stepped forward. "We opened human thinking centers on 12 worlds. Aliens learned to question everything, while humans learned to refine their chaos. Together, they're reshaping the galaxy." Screens showed alien children drawing wild ideas while solving complex math. Human students used alien logic to turn their mistakes into discoveries. Every classroom had both whiteboards and quantum computers. The barrier between our species has broken, Jai-yun continued. Like the light barrier we overcame, it just needed a different way of thinking. Ta-min, now head of the new Earth-based Galactic Science Academy, joined them via hologram. Behind him, humans and aliens worked together, their differences making them stronger. We don't teach right answers anymore, he explained. We teach how to ask wrong questions in the right ways, how to fail forward, how to see patterns in chaos. Haenul's team demonstrated their latest invention, a ship that could think like both species. Perfect alien logic merged with human intuition, creating something entirely new. Humans aren't joining our civilization, Do-hyun concluded. They're helping us rebuild it. Every rule we thought was unbreakable, every limit we accepted, they've taught us to question everything. The council made their announcement. Earth would become the center for galactic innovation. The Human Approaches Division would lead the next wave of exploration and discovery. That evening, Jai-yun found Ta-min in their old warehouse, now a museum showing where it all began. He was teaching alien children how to draw silly pictures in their homework. They said we'd destroy their perfect order. Jai-yun said, watching the young aliens learn to embrace chaos. Instead, we showed them that perfection was their biggest flaw. Ta-min replied. The universe isn't perfect. Why should we be? Above them, ships with impossible engines carried the new way of thinking to distant stars. Each one was piloted by crews who knew that the best discoveries happened when order and chaos danced together. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was perfectly imperfect.